Hi everyone, it's Rax. The PTR notes for Season 20 have been released. Let me walk you through them and give you my opinion, alright? So first of all, it's going to begin on Thursday and 2/6, and the link for this will be in the description. And when it begins, I'm going to blast this super hard. I'm going to test everything. I'm going to have a super powerful everything. So we'll get to see exactly what all of this can do. So let's get to the good stuff here. Let's see what the goals are. With another new game-impacting seasonal buff, and entirely new class sets to experiment with, we know it'll be very tempting to get your hands on as much as you can to help guide our focus. This is what they'd most like to see tested. Barbs, witch doctors, and wizards who are getting the new sets. The first thing that pops into my mind here is I feel a little sad for Necros and Demon Hunters. I felt like Necros and Demon Hunters got a little bit left out here. I think they're a little bit behind Barbs and Wizards, but that's okay. At least we're getting 3 sets, and at least there's a lot of new stuff. So that can only mean DHs and Necros' time to shine is going to be next, right? So let's keep going. PTR tips. We know all about the PTR. And here we go. So here are the changes. Infernal machines and organs are now subject to vacuum pickup. Great. Crafting plans from bounty caches are now guaranteed to drop unless all plans have been learned. A lot of people were like, where's my Captain Crimson set? Or where's my Sages set? Well, now you're going to get it, hopefully, by doing less bounties is how I interpret this message. Seasons. A new seasonal theme has been added for Season 20, the season of the Forbidden Archives. For the duration of Season 20, all slots in Kanai's cube will be able to select legendary powers from weapon, armor, or jewelry. This means you could select 3 armor powers, 3 weapon powers, 3 jewelry powers, or any other combination thereof across all categories. You can't have duplicates. Once the season has ended, all characters roll over to non-season. Players will have all currently active powers in Kanai's cube reset. As we outlined in our developer insight blog, we want to continue to get creative and maybe a little crazy. With the season themes and powers we add to the game, we heard from some players that they preferred themes that made your character directly feel more powerful, rather than needing to focus on the environment around you. If that describes you, then the season of the Forbidden Archives should be right up your alley, and we're really interested to see how this changes the game for Season 20. So I gotta be honest, the first thing that I thought of when I read this, first of all, I think this is a pretty cool power. First of all, as we're going to see in a moment, Bazooka is going to be nerfed. Now, whether this nerf is actually going to work or not is probably irrelevant. If it's not good enough to actually nerf Bazooka, I'm sure they will tune it into a way that does nerf Bazooka, which means that the meta for XP may change. And if the meta for XP changes, then we look at what are already the strongest metas for XP, and that's usually the Barb with the Crusader, meaning the Ren Barb and the Heaven's Fury Crusader, or Rats. And Necros are infamous for having amazing jewelry. So with some crazy combinations of weapon, armor, and jewelry, I think rat runs are going to be amazing. Now, some people may be nauseated at that fact and may not be looking to another season of Rats, but at least Season 19 wasn't a season of Rats for once. But there's a little bit of a Heaven's Fury nerf coming, as we'll go through in a second. I don't know. If Bazooka's gone and Heaven's Fury is nerfed, maybe it's a season of Rats, and I think this is going to give them a big advantage. There's going to be a lot of crazy combinations we're going to have to try, but I think Rats are going to be incredible. And maybe even we take some of the weapon slots or even try some of the sets, because it's usually Legacy of Dreams with Rats. So Necros are going to be incredible with this buff, and maybe there's other combinations we can go for other classes, but the first thing that I thought of was I think Necros are going to dominate with this. Pretty cool seasonal theme if you ask me. 2 new seasonal rewards are available for players who fully complete the Season 20 journey. You get a new portrait and a new pet. Perfect. The Crusader Heaven's Fury, the animation canceling for Fires of Heaven, doesn't exist anymore. This is not surprising from the developer post, and this does give them quite a bit of damage. So I'm glad that this is the only way that they nerfed Heaven's Fury. I feared that they were just going to obliterate it and send it into oblivion, and that's not what they did. So all of you Crusader mains who were frightened that your build was going to be destroyed, it doesn't look like that's happened. So I think that's fair. Items. With the new patch, we're adding 3 new class sets. Each was designed primarily with boosting long-requested skills. Frenzy for Barbs, Spirit Barrage for Witch Doctors. It's a little bit weird for me with Spirit Barrage for Witch Doctors because Legacy of Dreams or Lawn's Spirit Barrage is already one of their strongest builds. So it's a little bit surprising, similar to how last season Heaven's Fury was buffed, and Heaven's Fury was already one of the Crusaders' best skills. And a Hydra build for Wizard. Now, some people may think that that's a dumb build with their pets. I think it's pretty cool. So that's what they're going to be focusing on. Mantle of Channeling. The bonus granted by this item now occurs 1 second after the channeling has begun. I believe that this nerf, along with the same thing that's happening to Etched Sigil and Death Wish, is a move to nerf Bazooka. Now, I've heard mixed reviews from some wizards that I talked to today. Some people think you can still use Bazooka, even with this nerf. If that's true, and if it's discovered on the PTR that you can still play it, hopefully they will nerf it further. So Bazooka is gone because Blizzard has made it clear that it's their intention to kill that build. Let's look at the new sets. Barbarian, the Horde of 90 Savages. The 2-piece bonus doubles the effectiveness of all shouts, and feared enemies take double damage. Now this is very scary, and it could be just the way that it's worded. If this goes live, this means that a support barb could take 2 pieces of this set and fear something for a different class and give a class double damage. If that goes live, if that's how it actually is, that's going to make support barbs, who are already the best support in the game, by a mile the best support in the game. So I'm guessing that this feared enemies take double damage only make the Barbarian deal double damage. But we have to see. Right now it just says feared enemies take double damage. So I was talking with my stream today about how OP it could make support barbs. And it doubles the effectiveness of your shouts. That's cool. 4-piece bonus. Each stack of Frenzy reduces damage by 5% for a total of 50 because we can get 10 stacks with Bastions Revered. And the 6-piece is Frenzy deals 10,000 or 1,000% damage per stack, but we get 10, so it's 10,000. Okay. And they're going to give us another multiplier. Undisputed Champion is a belt. We're going to get a 400% multiplier. And Frenzy is going to hit an additional time. So it's going to be double damage here, this multiplier, a 10,000% multiplier, 50% damage reduction, hitting a second time, effectively doubling its damage again. And each additional hit chains to any enemies within 15 yards, and the damage is split between all affected enemies. So it's a cool idea. Another thing about Frenzy is it's a primary ability, which means that we can use Simplicity's Strength, which is an incredible legendary gem. So we may be able to wear Bastions Revered and cube Oathkeeper, and remember, we can do any combination of cubing that we want with the seasonal buff. I have a feeling that this may be a very good Rift Guardian killer to just blast them with Frenzy over and over. Maybe. I have a feeling it could be very strong for solo. I don't see this being amazing for T16 farming, and I don't know if this is going to be a trash clearer, especially with what we're about to see from Witch Doctor next. So I'm thinking this is going to be a solo or maybe an RGK build. Is it going to be better than the Crusader? My guess is probably not, but let's see how it plays, and I will definitely make this. I love Barbs. You guys know Barb's my favorite class, so I'm interested to try this. One thing, in group play, if you are doing this with a meta group, this may really lag the game. Especially if you have area damage in. Now, if you're going to be an RGK, then area damage, you won't take any, but we got to be careful with how much this may lag the game. Chaining to all additional enemies and splash damage has me a little bit nervous. It's something that we're going to have to test. So that's the Barbarian set. Witch Doctor. Now, this looks pretty good. So first of all, Big Bad Voodoo is going to follow you and last twice as long. Some people asked, well, could you use this for a support Witch Doctor? You could. I don't know if Witch Doctors have a problem with keeping Big Bad Voodoo up when they support. I don't think that they do. But I'm not a Witch Doctor expert. I haven't played them in a long time because, honestly, they just haven't been good for a long time. So that's something that you may be able to add if you want to be a support Witch Doctor. But anyway, our Big Bad Voodoo is going to follow us and last twice as long. We're going to get 50% damage reduction for 30 seconds when we enter the Spirit Realm. Okay, so we should be able to keep that up all the time. Spirit Barrage deals increased damage equal to 50 times your mana regeneration per second. Okay, we'll get back to that in a second. The Barber. Instead of dealing direct damage, your Spirit Barrage now accumulates on your target. When you stop casting, it explodes, dealing 500% of the accumulated damage to all enemies within 15 yards. This is sounding pretty good. And Spirit Barrage gains the Phantasm rune. Each active Phantasm lasts twice as long and increases the damage of Spirit Barrage by 150%, and it increases the attack rate from the Spectres. And now it always rolls with crit hit chance, so you're not going to have to find 5,000 of them in order to get a good one. Very, very initial rough math that I've seen done on this means that this is going to be really, really strong. And if Bazooka is gone, this could potentially be the new meta trash clear. So Witch Doctors may be propelled to stardom here. Well, everything is subject to change with the percentages and how much damage they can deal and whether it will lag the game. You always have to remember, will it lag the game? Can you even play when they're doing this much damage? But the fact that they can just keep ramping up their damage and then detonate it, can you imagine a Witch Doctor going in and just standing there and attacking on a jug, pull the whole map with a couple Z-barbs and then go, all right, detonate it, and then boom, just blows everything up. Could be very, very cool. So if I was a Witch Doctor main, which I'm not, but I'll make a Witch Doctor and we'll try it. This looks very exciting. A lot of people seem super pumped about this set. So even though it's using one of their already most powerful abilities, this looks pretty good. Wizard. The 2-piece bonus is going to double the duration of Hydras and increase the number of heads on a multi-headed Hydra by 2. So, I think we looked at this, every Hydra that's multi-headed has 3 heads, so we're going to have 5 heads on the Hydras. That's going to matter in a moment. Damage taken is reduced by 8% for each Hydra head alive as long as there is one available. So, we should have 2 Hydras, and each is going to have 5 heads, so it's 80% reduced damage. But every time you take damage, a Hydra head is going to die. Now, wizards have the ability to shield themselves very well, especially if they're playing with a Z-Monk and a Z-Barb. So I think there will be ways around not taking damage, so I wouldn't worry too much about these Hydra heads dying. But that is a mechanic you are going to have to be aware of, and it's going to be a little wishy-washy, I guess. And Hydras deal 1,000% increased damage for each Hydra head alive. So again, if you take damage and these Hydra heads die, not only do you get less damage reduction, but you also deal less damage. So this should be a 10,000% multiplier. Now, one of the most valid things to think about here, and remember, this is pre-PTR, pre-testing, not looking at anything yet. This just seems like less damage than Legacy of Dreams Hydra. Okay? So if we took Legacy of Dreams, our multiplier would be higher than 10,000%, and we wouldn't have to worry about our Hydra heads ever dying or how many Hydras we have up. We would lose some damage reduction. And the duration, we would lose the double duration, but you could just summon more Hydras. I mean, if you're a Hydra wizard, what are you going to do other than summon more Hydras? So when I look at this right here, although it's a cool idea, this set at face value seems weaker than Legacy of Dreams Hydra. So my question immediately is, how is this going to be tuned to be at least equal or different or better than Legacy of Dreams Hydra? So if this is good, if all this is good with the Serpent Sparker, oops, rip season, you may have one extra Hydra alive and we get this 600% multiplier. Our Hydras periodically cast Frost Nova. Yikes. Any random hard CC, I can't stand. It makes it impossible for everything to gather. It makes it impossible for the supports to gather everything up. So to me, this is a big yikes. But we get another 600% multiplier. If this is really good and this went live, I would say, why should I use this set? Why don't I take these new things and just do Legacy of Dreams Hydra? And I wonder if Blizzard will do anything about these random Frost Novas, because it's going to make them very... Let's imagine something. Let's imagine that this wizard is an amazing RGK with all these buffs, and they summon 2 Hydras, and the Hydras just murder the Guardian. And the Frost Nova on the Guardian's not going to bother us. But what about during the Rift? I guess during the Rift, now that I think about it, I guess you could just not summon any Hydras. Just don't do anything. I guess that's a way around it. Okay, so just don't summon any Hydras. I guess it's just that simple. Just don't summon any Hydras during the Rift. So this is all very fresh to me. I'm thinking about everything. I've been thinking about it all day, chatting with my stream. You want to know what? Let's just try it on the PTR. It's a cool idea. I like pet builds. I like the Wrathman Necromancer. I like summoning Hydras. I like taking a Witch Doctor with all my little pets and fetishes. That to me is fun. I know a lot of people like more active gameplay. I think this is pretty cool. And a couple bug fixes. Several issues with adding and removing players to a group, starting new games. That's amazing. By the way, Blizzard, if you're listening, my clan has been bugged for 3 weeks. I sent in a ticket and they said, we're aware and it's bugged. I can't do anything in my clan. I can't leave it. I can't disband it. I'm stuck forever. And I think almost everyone's left my clan. If you could help me with that, if that's just want to call attention, it's still out there. I'm stuck in Clan Nether right now. Captain Crimson's fixed an issue where the set bonus did not reduce damage reduction with Devour Voracious. That's good. Crusader corrected the spelling, fixed an issue. Okay, so all of this is coming out on Thursday. I'm going to make all of this. I'm going to make the Barbarian. I'm going to make the Witch Doctor, and I'm going to make the Wizard, and we are going to blast. And we're going to see if we can clear 150 with these. Overall, I'm pretty excited for this. There's going to be, if you're a creative person, this is going to be a good season for you to see what crazy combinations you can come up with and what builds that we're just missing 1 or 2 specific things. Man, if I could just cube 2 weapons in this build and not this armor, this build would be amazing. It's going to be really cool to see. That's all I have to say before I actually jump in there. It's cool that we're getting 3 sets. It's cool that Blizzard is... These patch notes directly align with what they told us in the developer's blog. To me, the worst thing they could do is say something and do something different. Maybe the only thing there is DHs and Necros didn't quite get any love. But I think Necros at a minimum are going to be great with these changes, so... I can forgive them for that, and it just means we'll get their sets next time. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. On Thursday, we'll test it all, and let's see how good it is.